Tom Homan served as acting ICE director under President Trump. He is a Fox News contributor as well. Sir, thank you for joining us. What do you make of, well, I mean, does it sound to you like the president has backed off his threat to close the border, and was that a good or bad idea?
Well, I think it's still on the table. I think, look, he's wanting Mexico to do more. You know, criminal cartels are running rampant in Mexico, and they're operating, and Mexican authorities aren't doing anything about it. You can't turn a blind eye to thousands of illegal aliens being bused from southern Mexico to northern Mexico. So I think he's asked Mexico to step up and enforce their own laws from in their country to help them, you know, slow the tide coming here. So I think shutting down the border remains on the table. But Mexico has, the last few days, they've actually taken a lot of action. So I think as long as they do that, that option will stay on the table.
Yeah. This is, you know, Democrat Julian Castro, who is, you know, in the 2020 race, saying that the president has been a total failure on this issue. I want you to listen to this and then respond.
If we go back just 1 year, his administration told us that if we could just be cruel enough to separate little children from their parents, that would deter, that would stop more families from coming from Central America to our border. And here we are a year later, and actually the opposite of that is true. There are more people who are coming.
What do you think of his analysis?
Well, I think if he wants to know who failed, he should call his brother, who's a congressman in Austin, Texas. Because Congress has failed the American people. Congress has failed to close the loopholes that cause these people to come to this country. And when you talk about family separation, I'm really sick and tired of Democrats talking about Trump's family separation. I was with ICE during the Obama years. Family detention was built under the Obama administration. We went from 100 family beds to 3,000 family beds. And those so-called cages, which I don't call cages at all, but they call them cages, were built under the Obama administration. So, you know, they got to stop clouding the truth here to the American people. So his idea
well,
of
he was saying separating parents, kids from the adults that they're with, whether those are their parents or not.
It was not. It was
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was not a family separation policy. It was a zero-tolerance policy. Family separation was a result of a parent being prosecuted. A child can't go to jail with a parent. Now, families were separated under the Obama administration. Parents were separated under the Bush administration and the Clinton administration. More was done under the Trump administration because Congress had failed to close the loopholes. The border's out of control. If Congress is going to fail to fix this legislatively, and the courts keep, you know, stalling, you know, action taken by the president, then we need to do operationally what no one else is doing. So that was a way to try to control the flow, and it worked.
Yeah. Tom Homan, thank you.
Several 2020 Democratic contenders taking their message to an audience of minority voters today. Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, and Elizabeth Warren among those speaking at the annual National Action Network conference. Brian Yennis has been there all week, and it's here in New York City, and Brian has a report for us. Hi.
Hi, Dana. Well, look, the Reverend Jesse Jackson is speaking right now, but what I can say is that every 2020 Democratic presidential candidate who spoke to black voters at this convention agreed on two things. One, that they would all support a bill from Congresswoman Sheila Jackson that would provide, at least start a commission to study providing slavery reparations to African Americans. And number two, they also that they would reform the criminal justice system and end mass incarceration. A dozen of the presidential candidates have stopped here at this convention this week. It's the National Action Network convention hosted by the Reverend Al Sharpton. The goal here is to introduce these candidates to a vital voting bloc for Democrats, black Americans. And one of those candidates is the only black female running for office. That is Senator Kamala Harris. She spoke just about a couple hours ago. Take a listen.
When this country incarcerates more people than any other country, America must admit it has a problem of mass incarceration. That we have a criminal justice system in this country that is deeply flawed, it is informed by bias, and in urgent need of reform.
She, of course, was the former Attorney General in California. Also speaking today, Senator Bernie Sanders, who had direct attacks for President Trump, and also Senator Elizabeth Warren, who talked about empowering black women. Take a listen.
Trump is a man who, as you know, has said that he believes those Nazis and white supremacists who marched in Charlottesville are very fine people.
Black women are more likely to be breadwinners for their family, are more likely to work more, are more likely to get paid less, and are the least likely to be able to afford decent child care.
The latest Fox News polling, Dana, shows that President Donald Trump has a disapproval rating with African Americans at 88%. Clearly, Democrats here trying to capitalize on that. Dana?
So out of all of them, who won over the crowd the most?
You know, ironically, Dana, it was actually the non-presidential contenders. Yesterday, the former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams went over the crowd, so much so that at one point the crowd started chanting, "Run, Stacey, run." She has said that she hasn't decided yet whether she will. And today, the rock star of the group had to be Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the freshman Democrat, speaking about the Green New Deal and bringing justice to Americans and minorities, especially and the working class. Lots of phones came out, Dana. Crowd really, really enjoyed her.
Well, I'm glad you were there to bring us the story. Thank you, Brian.
Of course.
Attorney General William Barr set to testify before the House Appropriations Committee next week, with lawmakers expected to press him on his decisions regarding the Mueller report. This amid a report that Mueller's own team was split on whether President Trump obstructed justice, and that's why he issued no decision on that. Next, let's bring in Democratic Congressman Matt Cartwright. He is a member of the House panel where Barr will be testifying. Sir, thank you for joining us. What's the first question you would ask him?
Melissa, nice to be with you. What people need to realize is that the House Appropriations Committee, on which I serve, funds the entire federal government, and we have to listen to testimony from the executive branch officers who come in and present their proposed budgets and tell us what they want to spend money on and why they want to spend it on that and not other things. And so as part of funding the Justice Department, we have the Attorney General of the United States, the head of the Justice Department, coming in and talking about the President's budget and why this should be funded and why that should be funded and other things shouldn't be funded. So it'll be a very interesting set of questions and answers. Certainly, the Mueller report will come up. I must tell you, I may ask about that, but probably not. Until the actual redacted version of the Mueller report comes out, we're all just kind of stabbing around in the dark about what's going to be left out, what's going to be kept in. I will say this. The House voted unanimously, Democrats and Republicans, that this is a report that ought to be made public so that we can stop speculating about it and stop talking about what this person said might be in it and might not be in it and should be redacted. Let's go through the exercise and see what actually the facts are.
That is very sober and rational of you, sir. Do you think that the other folks on your committee feel the same way?
I do. In fact, I think you'll get a pretty good consensus that some things may need to be redacted, like grand jury testimony is supposed to be secret. And if they want to redact that, fine. If there are national security secrets that are in there, they should be redacted. And I do think that probably a more select group of people in the Congress should look at the whole unredacted version, for example, the House Intelligence Committee. And they're used to being entrusted with top secret information, that they're going to honor their commitment to guard top secret information and not reveal it to the public, but also to review the whole thing so that they have the entire facts in context. I will say this: what I do intend to ask the Attorney General is, why does his budget cut cops grants by more than half, from $225 million down to under $100 million. Cops grants, people know, are federal grants that help local and city and municipality police forces grow their numbers to help do policing. Right here in northeastern Pennsylvania, we have an enterprising and effective mayor. He's a Republican, Jeff Cusack from Hazleton, and he's first in line. He's told me he wants cops grants for about 3 more cops to bring his force up to 45 to police the city of about 25,000. And to put that in danger, Attorney General Barr has cut the cops grant programs in his budget by way more than half. I want to know why. Don't we want to keep our people at home safe? Don't we want to police?
We're running out of time. I just want to ask you, do you think it's related to the sanctuary city issue? I don't know, but I know that has been one of the federal funding to local forces.
That could well be his answer, but they haven't said so far. And Hazleton is not a sanctuary city. We don't have any sanctuary cities in northeastern Pennsylvania.
I understand that, but I thought maybe it spoke to the larger issue of cutting those local budgets. But we'll see. It sounds fascinating. We will certainly be watching. And you know, I'm always mindful of taxpayers' money, so I love the idea that you want to know exactly where it's going. Thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
It's our job to find out,
yes.
Melissa.
Good for you. Thank you. We appreciate you doing it.
Speaker Pelosi has lost control of the House Democrats that she leads. It's not just the radical newcomers who are bucking her leadership, it's the old guard too. Some just can't contain their Trump derangement syndrome. It's almost embarrassing. The most glaring recent example is Representative Maxine Waters. Now, she's powerful. She chairs the Financial Services Committee, which oversees the whole financial industry. At the Women's National Democratic Club dinner this week, she said, "The American people know that this man is dangerous." With respect, we do not know anything of the sort. Ms. Waters expressed an extreme opinion about our president. She didn't express a fact. And here's where she really went off the rails, saying, "Certainly, he conspired with the Kremlin and with the oligarchs of Russia." Mueller found that certainly he did not. Elected officials in powerful positions should not be doing this. The chair of a powerful committee should not say or imply that our president is an agent of Russia, when an exhaustive investigation said he's no such thing. Ms. Waters is no stranger to extreme language. In June last year, she told a crowd to confront Trump officials when they appear in public. If you see anybody in a restaurant or a department store, at a gas station, you get out and create a crowd and you tell them they are not welcome anymore, anywhere. That's mob rule. And sure enough, the mob harassed Trump people in public. You might think that the Mueller no collusion report would make the Trump haters back off. Oh, but no. Trump derangement syndrome is as bad as ever, and Speaker Pelosi can't control it. She had told her caucus to soft-pedal the impeachment drive, but Maxine Waters is ignoring her. The Democratic Party has been taken over by the haters. Speaker Pelosi has lost control.